What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Chris Moore, and in today's video we got a Honda on the dyno, and the customer is complaining the bike is slow. So I was like, man, I ran this bike on the dyno already. I'm not gonna tell you what it made, but I'm like, man, we gotta do a video on this. So anyways, this customer has a 2017 Honda CBR1000, and it has a Acro slip-on exhaust with the catalytic converter still attached. So it still has the cat in place, and it only has 700 miles on it. So it's not like this is a clapped out bike that hadn't been taken care of. This is a bike that they've simply did some modifications to it themselves, put an exhaust system on it, and the bike just is not performing. So we're gonna run this thing on the dyno, see what it's all about, and see what is going on with this thing. Then we're gonna remove the ECU, flash the ECU, and dyno tune this thing to see what we get out of it. And I think this is gonna be one of our biggest gainers so far, boys. So we got this CBR1000 off the dyno in here in the shop, and come to find out the catalytic converter from the factory headers was clogged up. So I don't know what happened to cause that, but either way, the bike come in only making 60 horsepower. Oh, by the way, new merch in the merch link below. New hoodies just dropped. Anyways, we got these headers off this CBR1000. These things are super small, like the size of 600 exhaust. So we're gonna be getting rid of those. The customer has got an Akrapovic full header system that he's adding on to his factory slip-on that he already had. And this is gonna be a much nicer looking, much better sounding full exhaust system versus what he had. There's also some air restrictors in the air intake pipes. We're gonna be doing those, as well as some pair block-offs. We'll show you what that looks like here in just a second. All right, so we got the Honda airbox off. This thing had a BMC air filter in it, and we're gonna be cleaning that out while we got it, but I wanted to show you a few other things. We're also doing the pair block-off plates. We're doing new spark plugs, but look at these ram air ducts. What kind of dum-dum invented this? So you can see this is the air duct, and then it simply literally has a rubber tube inside there that's literally just glued in that restricts the airflow. I have no idea what the logic and thinking is behind this, but literally you go from a hole that size to a hole that size, all for the large price of free. So anyways, we're going to be upgrading that. I have read where those see really good gains. We're going to be trying all this stuff out on the dyno. What do you think this thing is going to make? Comment in the comments below. Akrapovic, basically full exhaust now, and BMC air filter, unrestricted air ducts, flashed and tuned ECU. What do you think we're going to see out of this thing? Remember, we got fresh spark plugs. Bike only has 700 miles on it. This thing should make good power. A GSX-R 1000, same modifications, about 185 horsepower. ZX-10, same modifications, about 190 horsepower. Yamaha R1, about 180 horsepower, 185. What do you think this Honda is gonna make? All right, guys, we got this CBR 1000 all loaded up on the dyno. Hopefully we are ready to make some horsepower right now. Remember, we started out with about 60-something horsepower on this thing a few days ago. We got the new header installed. Now I think we're ready to see what she's finally about. All right, guys, comment in the comments below. What do you think it's gonna make? I'm gonna say, we went from 60-something, let's just say 164. So we're getting some more horsepower out of this thing. We're up to 167 horsepower and 80 foot-pounds of torque. 80 foot-pounds of torque is super strong on a 1000. A ZX-10, I just dynoed one earlier this morning, made 192 horsepower, only made 79 foot-pounds of torque. So the Honda does really strong in the torque department. But one thing that there's been some, I guess you would say, buzz going around lately is about the European ECU versus the American ECU. People are being told that they need a European ECU or need a file from a European ECU. So here I have got, I guess you would say, my tune pulled up here that we're working with, which is a MKF L13, okay? If we go over here to the new selection, MKF L13, that is an American slash a US slash Canada ECU. So if we go up here to a MKF D43 ECU, that is a European and Australian ECU. So we'll click on new, we'll open this up, and I guess you would say what people have been talking about is that this is a unrestricted ECU. Well, yes, technically it is an unrestricted ECU. And I'll show you what is different about that. So we're gonna go to other maps and we're gonna go here to ETV. That stands for electronic throttle valve in power mode 1 with engine braking set to 1 and gear 1. Okay, so here you'll go down here. This is our RPM column, and then this is our throttle percentage column. So in other words, when you give it 100%, that shoots you over here to this column. That's 100%. Can't find my mouse, there it is. 100%, and then as we scroll down in the things, you can see that basically at 10,000 RPMs is when the bike actually goes 100% throttle. Now, this is in a European ECU. When you are 100% throttle at 5,500 RPMs, you're technically only at 52% throttle, okay? And even when you go to 5th gear, it's still the same way, okay? So, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna close this out. We're gonna go back to an American ECU, which is a L13, which is what we started with. So we'll click new here, and we'll go to other maps. We'll go to ETV, electronic throttle valve, power mode 1, engine braking 1, gear 1. All right, so this is where the American bikes are really restricted. So here we are in the 100% column. When we go down to 10,000 RPMs in first gear, we only get up to 80% throttle. And then at 11,000 RPMs, we're back down to 73% throttle throughout the remainder of the RPM curve. Also, at 5,500 RPMs, when we're wide open, we're only getting 26%. So if we go to fifth gear, which is where we're dynoing it at, you can see we do get up to 100% throttle at 10,000 RPMs, the same as the European bike, but unfortunately we're cut back to 11,000 RPMs, back to 73%. These are huge, huge, huge power restrictions, okay? Next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna close this out altogether. We're gonna go to our tune, okay? This is an L13. This is, I guess you would say, the customer's ECU that he has here. And we're going to other maps. We're gonna look at the ETV column, power mode 1, engine braking 1, gear 1, and boom, you can see that we have got these live. So in other words, when you go 99% throttle, 99% throttle. When you go 100% throttle, you get 100% throttle the whole entire RPM curve. And we've got this set up throughout the whole entire thing. That way, whenever you tell it 100%, it goes 100%. When you tell it 96%, it goes 96%. So that is the, I guess you would say, the main differences between the ECUs on an American bike versus a European bike. Why is it like that? I don't know, it's stupid. Nah, actually they have an agreement as the bikes come into America that they only make so much power, they're restricted, blah, 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 super dumb. But anyways, we have got this L13 ECU all flashed up to make the power that these things are supposed to make. If you'll go back and watch some of my other videos, you'll see where these same bikes come in here stock, even with an exhaust system, and only put out, I've seen as low as 148 horsepower, which is pitiful for a 1000cc bike. But anyways, as we unrestrict these things and get the power out of them, they really start to shine. So you can see this one does have the air tubes removed, like we've been told, you know, gives you a miraculous 20 horsepower. It's not quite the case. Is it gonna help? Yes. Is it gonna help more on the street? Yes. Okay, we have a very good ram air system here. I know our fan, old Bessie here, she looks old, but this is a blower unit out of a furnace. So this thing cranks out serious, serious air. I know it's hard to tell in the thing, you know, with my hand, but there is seriously a lot of air going in, and it's all directed right here at the ram air tubes. So we do have some good airflow in it. We've actually tested it back here with the air box off, you know, and put our hand back here, and we do feel a significant amount of air blowing into the air box. So is it 100 mile per hour winds? No. Is it simulating the street? No. But do I know how to tune stuff to where it's gonna be right on the street? Yeah, that's right. They don't cost fastest in the world for no reason, boys. All right, let's finish up this CBR and get it finished. All right, guys, we just finished up with this CBR1000. It ended up being a huge gainer. Of course, the catalytic converter was clogged up was the issue. How the catalytic converter got clogged up, I have no clue. The customer bought the bike as is with only 700 miles on it, said it was slow from day one. So anyways, I don't know what was going on, but either way, we figured it out and we got this thing making some power, sounding good. 167 horsepower and 80 foot-pounds of torque ended up being the final numbers. Super good for this bike. Like I said, another thing that holds these things back is the velocity stacks on them too. So that's something you guys could look into upgrading as well. But as for today's video, that is gonna do it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications, smash that like button, and as always, guys, we'll see you next time.